Okay, let's hold our horses, everyone. The Flyers actually won a hockey game against the Boston Bruins. They win today by a score of 3-2, and the penalty kill actually stepped up big. We actually did not allow a power play goal by the Bruins. That's I don't know. I couldn't think of anything to say, but it's just shocking. I guess it's shocking that we didn't allow a power play goal to the Bruins. And Brian Elliott came up huge for us today as well. He played a really good game. Got Travis Konecny had a very good game. Probably one of the best that he's had since the beginning of the season. And Shane Gostisbehere also gets on the board once again. Sean Couturier getting the game-winning goal too. And I don't know how I feel. I guess, like I said, you're just taking this one day at a time at this point with the Flyers. And you are now maybe like a little under 24, a little over 24 hours from the trade deadline on Monday. And the Flyers, they do have a game tomorrow against the Buffalo Sabres as well. I think that's also at 2 o'clock. So really not going to be expecting any moves by the Flyers within this little 24-hour stretch. Most likely it won't happen until after the Buffalo game. If the Flyers do end up making a trade, I probably wouldn't expect it to be until most likely deadline day. That's just my inner thought. But and I know there's also rumors right now that the Flyers are looking to re-sign Scott Laughton and extend him. So that could honestly change a lot of things of like who the Flyers are going to trade now, because Laughton was the guy that was popping up a lot of the rumors lately. So if Laughton does get re-signed or extended, but could this be like a signing then trade, or do they just extend him? They look to trade another piece that's on the roster. Do you look at more of the other bottom six guys, a guy like a Raffle? Maybe could you move him? Do you look at a defenseman to trade? Maybe you still look at trading a guy like Gostisbehere. And you just gotta have to wait. Maybe, who knows, maybe you look at some of these other teams around the league that still need goaltending. Maybe Brian Elliott is a guy that you can trade. You never know. You definitely never know. But the Flyers, they got to win today. They got 2 points. I think they're now, 3 or 5 points behind Boston for that 4th place spot, even though Boston still has 2 games in hand. So right now, the Flyers, they just control their own destiny at this point. That's basically the entire situation. Like I said, taking it one game at a time. My hopes for this team making the playoffs, they're just not there. I don't think this team is going to make the playoffs. Like I said, they have way too many problems for them to make the playoffs. And even if they do, I don't think those problems are going to go away once they go right into the playoffs. So, going into this game, Flyers, not the best of starts. They look really sluggish. They look like they're effortless. They just look like they weren't involved in the game to start off. And that turns into the first 5 minutes. You got a goal from Patrice Bergeron. And that's his 8th goal this year against the Flyers. Yeah, a lot of the Boston top guys, they like scoring against the Flyers this year. So, Boston goes up 1-0 early. Then the Flyers, they actually decide to wake up halfway into this game now. They decide to get their legs going, and especially that line of Giroux, Voracek, and Konecny. Those guys in the past few games, they've showed they've had some excellent chemistry. Those guys look like they're grinding, they're in the offensive zone a lot, and they're providing some type of energy. So you got a shot from Robert Haig from the point, goes off of the goalie Swayman, and then you got Travis Konecny pouncing on the rebound, burying it to make it a 1-1 game. Later in the period, Flyers get a power play, and surprisingly, it doesn't take that long to score on this power play. Flyers bring it up the ice, actually a clean transition. Travis Konecny has the puck. He finds an open Gostisbehere going to the net, throws it to him, and he redirects it into the net past the goaltender, and it's a 2-1 Flyers lead. So the Flyers, they go into the intermission up 2-1. Wow, I'm actually surprised they were up 2-1 against Boston early in this game. Very, very surprised. Flyers get an early power play in the second period. They can't cash in on that. And then the Flyers, this is where they start getting into the penalty issues. On that power play to start off the period, Nolan Patrick takes a bad tripping penalty. Boston goes to the power play. Flyers kill it off. Halfway through the period, Flyers take another penalty. Flyers kill it off. But then directly after that power play, it's Jake DeBrusk getting a goal and tying the game at 2. So, halfway through this game, the game is tied. Boston getting their chances. And majority through this game, for me, I was more listening it to the radio. I was getting some snippets of the highlights on social media. I wasn't home. I was listening to the radio. So I really can't dissect the plays that much. But I'm just going to give you my overall thoughts from what I watched from highlights from the game, most likely, and just listening to the radio. So, Flyers going to the intermission, 2-2. So, going to the third period, it's going to be a really important third period. Flyers, they still take penalties. they take 2 more penalties in this period. But before they do take the penalties, Flyers get a goal to go up early. They go up early 3-2 in this third period. Sean Couturier burying one to make it a 3-2 game. Joel Farabee waiting out the goaltender. Then he finds an open Sean Couturier, and as Swayman is sliding out of his crease, then Coots has to put the puck back onto his forehand to put the puck into the net. It's kind of a little bit of a scary situation because you never know if one of the Boston players is going to block the shot. But hey, puck goes in, 3-2 Flyers lead, then the Flyers start taking their penalties. 2 penalties, in fact. And they killed them off. Brian Elliott making a couple of saves. He also made one of those nice saves off of one of the passes to where if that pass went through, the puck probably would have went into the net if it got to the player. So, Brian Elliott coming up huge for us, especially on the power play as well. But then the Flyers, you think they get a goal. You think they get a goal later in this third period to seal off the game and make it 4-2. It's Shane Gostisbehere with a shot, goes off of Jake Voracek. Okay, it trickles in, 4-2 Flyers. But no, Boston decides to challenge it for goaltender interference, and the call gets reversed because it's obvious Voracek comes through the crease, he bumps into Swayman's mask, and basically a goaltender's crease, that's his ice. You can't interfere with it. Voracek stepped into it, didn't give him any type of room to move, and he interfered with him by bumping into his head. So, goal gets called back, 3-2 Flyers lead still, and the Flyers, they close out the game. They do. And they win this game by a score of 3-2. If you look at the stats from this game, Boston outshot the Flyers 32-23. Boston beat the Flyers in the faceoff 51%. And the Flyers special teams actually won them this game. Flyers went 1 for 2 on the power play, and they went 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. And Flyers, they actually out-hit Boston 24-20. Both teams blocked a lot of shots, and both teams gave the puck away a lot. That's a very common theme with the Flyers. So, just now, if we look at the standings, like I said, I think the Flyers are 3 or 5 points behind Boston still in the Eastern Division. Now, let me look at this screen right here. And the Flyers, they are 4 points, actually, behind the Boston Bruins. So the Flyers, they are 19-15-6. And the Bruins, they are 21-11-6. But Boston, they still have 2 games in hand on the Flyers. So, like I said, the Flyers at this point, they control their own destiny. And I know they're going to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching when Boston plays their games especially. And maybe even when the teams like the New York Rangers play their games too. So, they're stretched for the Flyers. And if we look at their schedule, I know they play Buffalo tomorrow. And I think they have a stretch soon where they play the Devils 4 times in a week. I'm not sure if that's next week or the week closing out the month of April. I'm not entirely sure. So waiting for this page to load for me so I can see the rest of the schedule. So Flyers, they play Buffalo tomorrow, like I said. And the 13th after the trade deadline, they play the Washington Capitals. The 15th on Thursday, they play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Both of those games are road. The 17th Saturday, they play the Washington Capitals. And the 18th on Sunday, they play the New York Islanders. Both of those games are at home. And the Flyers will actually have 3 days off next week, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. So we don't have to worry about Flyers hockey for 3 days straight. Oh boy. So then the 22nd and the 23rd, the Flyers will be on the road against the New York Rangers. And then, yes, it's the last week of April going into May where the Flyers play the New Jersey Devils 4 games in a row. 2 at home, 2 on the road. So, Buffalo tomorrow, trade deadline on Monday. So we just... What are the Flyers going to do with the trade deadline? I have no idea. And like I said, the rumors are circling that the Flyers most likely, or they're trying to, re-sign Scott Laughton. So I wonder if what the contract's going to be, if that's even true, if those rumors are true, what the term is going to be. I kind of feel like what's going to make this deal, I guess, be better for the Flyers standpoint, because the Vancouver Canucks, they extended Tanner Pearson to, like, I think 3 years at around 3-point-something million. So maybe that's equivalent to something maybe Laughton can make, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But maybe that works in the Flyers' favor on that standpoint. Maybe that's why they're pushing now to extend Laughton. And I know Laughton has expressed his feelings that he doesn't want to be traded. He wants to stay a Flyer. And he's one more of the guys that I would keep if the Flyers do a core shakeup in the offseason. They bring in a couple of different people, try to shake up the atmosphere in the locker room, try to bring in a couple of new faces. Laughton is one of those guys from the team that has been around here for a little bit that I would keep, because He's an energy player. He's a good guy that can play in your bottom six on your third or your fourth line. And he plays the style of the game right that you want him to play as. With energy, he forechecks, and he can also chip in on the score sheet. He's one of those perfect bottom six guys that you kind of need. So, going into, like I said, going into the trade deadline, I still don't know who the Flyers would trade. Who knows? Maybe these contract extensions turn out to be false, and Lawton is the guy that is actually traded, but we just have to wait and see. Like I said, I don't expect anything tomorrow against Buffalo. Who knows? Maybe someone could be scratched. But you also, I think, take this with a grain of salt, and people are scratched tomorrow because the Flyers have played a lot of games in a short amount of days. So some guys are definitely going to be needing some rest. I think Tanner Lenzinski and Carson Twarynski were called up. So I would expect both of those guys to play tomorrow. So like I said, don't know what the Flyers are going to be doing at the trade deadline. Don't know who's going to be traded, even if there is a trade in general. But if there isn't a trade, that's going to make the Flyers fan base livid. I can definitely see that happening, without a doubt. So what are your thoughts on this game, everyone? What are your thoughts on the Flyers getting closer and closer to the trade deadline? And we'll get more into the trade deadline as it more approaches. Because like I said, I don't expect anything to happen tomorrow with the game against Buffalo. So I expect more stuff to happen after that game and more closer to deadline day. And stay tuned here because the Fired Up Podcast, we're going to be going live on trade deadline day, I think at around 2 o'clock, just to recap the final hour, see if there's any of those last minute big trades that are going to happen. And just like I said, stay tuned for that. So what are your thoughts on this video, everyone? What are your thoughts on today's Flyers game? Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section as always. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. Their links will be in the description below. Don't forget to check out the Fired Up Podcast merchandise website and also the link for Flyers Nitty Gritty. Those are in the description below as well. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, everyone. And I will see you next time.